Welcome to the Level Up English podcast, the best place to come to practice the English language, learn about the British accent and culture, with me, your host, Michael Lavers. Hello, English learners, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Michael here, and today we've got an interesting episode. I really hope you enjoy this one because this is another episode of Level Up English Live. And now we haven't done one of these for quite a while, and it's always somewhat experimental. I don't know how it's going to go. It's a bit of a new thing for me, but I really hope you like this one. So just to explain what happens in these episodes, I make an event on my website on Level Up English members. And anyone who is a member is able to join this call and be on the podcast. And in some ways, it was quite nice today because we had quite a small group. We had just 3 people join. Perhaps it's because I decided to do it at lunchtime on a Thursday, so it's not the best time for most people. But I think that was good. I think it was nice to have a small group. So we had 3 of us from different countries around the world talking today about the topic of giving advice, right? So we talk about this topic and we give advice to each other. We give advice to you. We also talk about some expressions and phrases that you can use when giving advice. I think it's a really useful episode. And I think we may have said this in the episode itself, but not only is it interesting, hopefully, but it's also really, really important to train your ear to listen to different accents and different voices in English. I know some people love hearing just native speakers, but I really think there's a lot of benefit from listening to people from other countries as well. So I hope you enjoy hearing what we have to say in this episode. If you do want to join in a future episode of Level Up English Live, you can become a member and you'll be able to join the next one. And if you want to become a member, you can do so at, of course, levelupenglish.school. That is the website, and you can click on the members button at the top of the page. And if you let me know that you're interested in another one of these live sessions, I will try to see when we can be free to do another one. I think that's all I have to say. I really hope you enjoy this conversation that we had, and please give me your feedback on what you thought about it as well. But let's get right into our conversation. So today we're talking about advice, and I wanted to look first of all at some phrases that we can use for giving people advice or suggestions. Do any of you know some phrases that we could use? Fabrizio, you were talking a bit before, like, if you want to give me some advice, what would you say?
I would suggest you doing something, for instance.
Yeah, I suggest you to do this, we could say. I suggest doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, usually suggest doing, we say like that. But yeah, suggest is a good one. I suggest going here.
If you ask a question, I may say, my advice is blah, blah, blah.
Exactly, yeah. My advice is, or what's another way to say instead of is? My advice...
Doing.
Think about a hypothetical word. Do you know what I mean?
Would be.
Yeah, perfect. My advice would be this.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Hind, do you know any more? Can you think of another example we can use for giving advice? Another phrase?
I think about the advice, there is a difference between how to say the advice in a blunt way or in convenient way. Like, you have to do that. No, I think better for you, do that. Or in my opinion, maybe you have to do that. But if another person asks to me how to do that or how to, in polite way, yeah.
Exactly. So you have to be tactful, I would say. You have to be polite and respectful I think when you're giving advice like this, you mentioned a good
Yeah.
one, which could be better. So you could say like, you had better do something.
Yeah, to do that, or yeah.
So that's going, you had better. You could say, I had better as well. Talk about yourself, like giving advice to yourself. It really means I should. Very often we contract it to make it shorter, like, you'd better do this.
You'd better. Okay.
You'd better do this.
It may be also right to say, if I were you, I would do
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like so.
Yeah, good conditional advice. Like, if I were you, I would not do that thing. If I were you, I would study English. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Can we think of one more? Anna, do you know any more?
I always use it at night. If I were you, I would go to the doctor. Yeah, when I see someone, sometimes they are feeling under the weather and then they don't know. So I always say that one.
That's a really good one. Yeah, if I were you, I would go to the doctor. Feeling under the weather, that's a good phrase, meaning I'm feeling well. I like that. Let's get to some advice. So, first of all, I want to ask about being happy, because that's a big topic. So, what would be your advice on living a happy life? Maybe Hind, can we start with you? Do you have any advice on how to be happy?
Happy actually in this real life now. Avoid the whole distractions like social media or any platform like TikTok, Snapchat. When I'm scrolling the videos looking for happiness, yeah, I feel distracted and I feel depressed actually, because I read it about that, the monkey mentalities when monkey mentality, yeah, when it moves from the branch to another in the fast way without any purposes, yeah, and the end of the night, yeah, it feel depressed, yeah. And I think this is the useful advice. Avoid all distractions of any platforms and focus on the actually long videos like documentaries or anything, but avoid the distractions. Yeah.
That's interesting. So when you're talking about the monkey mentality, maybe another word for that is monkey mind. Have you heard monkey mind before? I wonder if that's the same. I don't know if that's exactly the same, but you're kind of comparing how the monkey goes from branch to branch, how your brain goes from thing to thing. And I guess you can get depressed and sad if you keep doing that. So I like your advice on maybe looking at like longer form content, like documentaries, because maybe they have more substance.
Yeah.
Like you can learn from them and you can feel good about watching them. But if it's like a quick TikTok video, maybe not. Maybe you're not really learning much. I don't know if you disagree.
Yeah. Yeah, and not funny. Actually, I'm looking the happiness and funny things, but I can't focus in one thing. Yeah, and I feel depressed and closed everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. The more things you focus on, maybe the harder it is to relax as well. That's interesting. Anyone else have some advice on how to be happy? Following on from that,
I would suggest not to demand too much from your life, because happiness is I think it's too ambitious goal to accomplish. So it would be better to be satisfied by little things that are around you and try to find peace in yourself and the people who live around you. I don't know, is it appropriate to say that happiness is a fading feeling, so something that doesn't remain for a long time. So relying on continuous happiness is something that can be frustrating in the long term, I would say.
Yeah, that sounds really wise, really deep. I kind of agree that you have to kind of have somewhat low expectations. If you expect to always be happy, you're going to be disappointed, aren't you?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
really interesting. And maybe ironically, you're going to be happier if you don't expect to be happy.
Exactly.
Interesting. To manage your expectations, understand that happiness fades. I learned something interesting recently, which something about the chemical system in the mind is when you have a really happy experience, your mind has to go down afterwards. So that's why often when you have a really happy holiday or happy party, the next day you'll be feeling a bit sad. Apparently it's some chemical in your brain that's been depleted. It's gone. Really interesting. But it comes back up. There's always something to be happy about again one day. Do you have any other ideas, Anna? Apart from, joining Level Up English classes, what else can you do to be happy?
I would say that we need to try to be satisfied what we have now, because we always think like, oh, if I buy that house, if I get that car, I will be happier, or if I get fluent in English, so we always put our expectation, we should get things to become now like a successful business person. So if we don't need to think like that. We need to try to enjoy the little things, the process. You can be happy for that moment, but after the novelty, it will fade away. So we need to enjoy every day the little things, and then I think it's the best thing.
You always use such good expressions too. You said novelty, like after the novelty wears off. That's a really common phrase. The novelty is that new, exciting feeling when you first get something new. But the novelty always fades. After some time, it gets boring and not interesting anymore. So that's a really good point as well. I guess it's practicing gratitude, being happy with what you have, and understanding that if you get more stuff, you won't be happier than, you'll be the same, basically. I think it also works with language learning, right? Like, I get a lot of learners talk to me about how sad they are with their English level, and they kind of mistakenly think if they get better English, they'll be happier. But then maybe, as you guys know, when they get better English, all they want to do is get even better English. There's always like a next step, isn't there?
I will remain on very simple things. In this moment, I will be happy if I could be able to kill the mosquitoes that is annoying me since 1 hour.
Well, the mosquito wouldn't be happy though, would it? That would be very
yeah. We don't know. Nobody knows.
It could be something simple like that. Who knows what's going to make you happy? But then tomorrow you will have forgotten about the mosquito anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Interesting. I can't really think of anything more. I think just going on from what you said, Anna, it's like be in the moment, try to enjoy where you are right now. Yeah. And maybe what Hind was saying too, like stop comparing yourself to people on social media. That's always a bad thing as well.
And then trying to enjoy life to the full, because we always think, as you said, comparing to my co-worker, he speaks English better than me. And then we are comparing, and also a little bit of envy, and jealous. We want to be like that person as well, to get better. So we need to enjoy life. And as you said, be grateful for what you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess if you really enjoy your life, there's no need to compare to other people because you don't want anything to change. So I guess that would be true. What's another topic of advice we could do? How about I suggest one more? I think this is one that I need to improve on, and this is sleeping late. I think last night I went to bed a little bit too late, and you might see it in my eyes today. It's not so good. So can anyone else relate to this? Do you guys have that same problem?
I have been sleeping a few hours. It's not a nice thing to do. I listened to your podcast talking about that. It's sleep deprivation. I learned a lot from it. I knew that it wasn't good, but listening to you talk about that deeply, it was like a wake up call that I
Wake up call,
don't,
yeah.
yeah, I needed to sleep more hours. Yeah, I think our health, our brain, they don't work properly when we don't sleep as much as we needed to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, have you found any techniques on improving your sleep and getting to bed earlier?
You leave your smartphone in another room. I think this is a good advice.
That's the best.
And probably to sleep in a room completely immersed in darkness, so without any artificial lights that can disturb your sleep. Of course, be sure that no mosquito is in the room. Is another. I am a little obsessed with mosquitoes these days. How do you call in English the dark sign just below your eyes? Do you have special names? In Italian, we say bags.
Oh, it's the same. It's the same.
Ah, okay.
So we say dark bags under your eyes.
Dark bag, okay.
Yeah, dark bags under your eyes. Yeah, so if there's a mosquito biting you all night, you're going to wake up with dark bags. Yeah. It's going to be horrible. But yeah, I think that's a huge one, is make sure it's dark, make sure your phone is not a distraction. Hind, do you have any other advice for getting good sleep and sleeping on time?
In my opinion, I think do more exercise in the day, because the dopamine in your mind, release the dopamine in your mind. I feel more relaxed when I go to the gym and do more exercise. Yeah, I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah, great answer. So I don't know about the science side of it, but you're saying it releases dopamine, which is the chemical, the hormone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know so much about that, but I definitely know my experience. If I exercise, I always sleep much better. I guess I've used more energy, I feel more tired, and it's just good for you as well. Like, why not? You might as well. So yeah.
Not to sleep with someone who knows.
Either kick them out of the bed or get earplugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Another suggestion, coming back to the advice, I would advise anyone to join this kind of events, classroom lessons, because I think that is very useful for training our ears. Because listening to Anna and Hindo, it's not always easy to meet people who have a different accent. So sometimes we are more used to listening to British accent. And of course, learners like me have their own accents generally, unless they spend a long time abroad in the UK or in other English-speaking country. So it's good for our listening skill, to improve our listening skills. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, that was one of my goals when I started. I did get a comment on YouTube just yesterday. No hate to this person, by the way. I respect their opinion. But they were kind of saying, I just want to listen to native speakers, only native speakers. And I had to say, I kind of disagree, because if you're learning English, there's going to be so many people you meet where you have to talk English, but they're not English. Even if you come to London, you know, the capital of England, if you come to London, maybe like 50% of the people you meet will not be English. I do think it's really good practice to hear people from all over the world, but as you said, it's also just fun to meet people from other cultures too. Does anyone have any advice for anyone listening? Maybe we could finish off here. Any advice to listeners, to the big global community? Anything you want to give advice to? It could be English learning, anything else that's on your mind? Anything come up?
I just want to say to enjoy the process, and always reward yourself and think about where you before. Sometimes I do that. I say, oh, I'm not improving, I'm stuck, and then I feel, I'm not so stuck. So I remember where I was, like years ago when I came to London. I didn't speak any English at all. So I talked to myself. I said, Anna, do you remember? You couldn't even say a sentence. And now you are able to communicate. So be proud of yourself. So think about that. You always think that even though you are not improving as you would like to, but keep it going, keep it going. So
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So enjoy the process. Look at how far you've come. Give yourself a pat on the back. Lots of good phrases there. Amazing.
Another just suggestion that pops into my mind is to read something, an article or a page of a book, and record yourself and to listen to your pronunciation later. Because I believe now I have changed my mind in the last 6 months that if you pronounce better, you will improve also in listening, because you will be able to catch someone else's pronunciation when you listen to someone else. So it's a tiring process, and it's also time-consuming process. But it's time spent well. I don't know if you try to say that.
Yeah, time spent well, or time well spent actually.
Time well spent.
Time well spent.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. That's a really good tip as well. I like that. Hind, do you have any final advice to give people listening? No pressure.
Actually, learning English or learning any language or anything or any subject, I think it's a journey. You have to get mistake to become greater or to become in a high position. And don't shy or don't focus in your mistake to be fluent in English or any languages. You have to speak without any fears, because I think this is discourage me or discourage you to become fluent. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't worry about your mistakes. In fact, mistakes are good. If you focus on them, it will discourage you from becoming fluent. Amazing advice. I love that. I guess we should probably leave it here for now. I don't want to make the episode too long, but I think this was quite nice. It was a small group, just 3 of us talking. Everyone had a chance to talk. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for giving this opportunity.
My pleasure. You have been listening to the Level Up English podcast. If you would like to leave a question to be answered on a future episode, then please go to levelupenglish.school/podcast. That's levelupenglish.school/podcast. And I'll answer your question on a future episode. Thanks for listening.